Hello, everyone. It looks like I think I've succeeded in going live. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with it. I'm getting mixed signals on my computer screen right now, but I believe that I have successfully gone live here. We're going to do a very short version of our show. This is the first time I've ever tried to do live just from my home computer. So if there's any issues out there, feel free to jump in the chat. Let me know if it sounds bad or you can't hear me or anything like that. And I will also put out an audio version of this podcast as well. We're not going to do our normal show. We're taking a break as a group for the holidays, but I did want to make sure that we got out some local sports news still, and we're still selecting a Spivey Athlete of the Week for this week. So we're going to do the local sports roundup. We're going to do it without all the fancy music that Andrew puts behind it. So you're just going to have to listen to me and the way I do it, which is probably a lot more boring. But let's kick things off with some cross-country action. Hoke Williams, Jane Roloff, we mentioned this last week about Jane, but also Aberdeen's Henry Nelson earned All-American honors with their performances at the United States Track and Field National Junior Olympics Cross-Country Championships on Saturday, December 9th at Tom Sawyer Park in Louisville, Kentucky. Roloff placed 18th in the overall field of 114 female runners and 6th in her age group. Nelson placed 23rd in his age group and 34th overall in a field of 118 male runners. And if you follow our social medias, you probably know that we made Jane the Spivey Athlete of the Week last week. We didn't actually know that Henry had also become an All-American, so that's very cool to learn that as well. Moving on, Aberdeen's boys basketball team snapped a 4-game Myrtle Street rivalry losing streak with a 55-49 overtime home win over Hoke Williams on Monday. The Bobcats' depth and athleticism was on full display, and Manny Garcia and Jacob Quezada hit crucial shots for Aberdeen down the stretch, including the dagger three-pointer that Quezada hit with 39 seconds left in the overtime period to put the Bobcats up 53-48. Quezada led Aberdeen with 17 points, while Baylor Ainsworth added 14 points as part of a solid all-around performance, and Manny Garcia chipped in 10 points. Lincoln Nemi led the way for Hoke Williams with 22 points, mostly earned with a tough but savvy drive to the basket. He was struggling a little bit more than normal with his outside shot, but he was still finding ways to get inside, use his body to shield defenders, and did a fantastic job of scoring around the hoop. Xander Jump scored 15 points in that game for the Grizzlies. Hoke Williams bounced back from the loss to Aberdeen with an 86-44 home win over Onalaska on Thursday. The Grizzlies hit 15 of 27 shots from beyond the arc in the game, including 10 three-pointers by Lincoln Nemi, who led all scorers with 35 points. Xander Jump scored 15 points again and also dished out 7 assists in this game. On Thursday, Aberdeen lost 63-38 at Tumwater despite a 29-point performance by Manny Garcia, but the Bobcats capped their week with a 49-37 win at Rochester on Friday, improving to 4-5 on the season. Riker Scott led Aberdeen with 11 points in the win, including 3 three-pointers. Jabron Brooks added 9 points and 5 rebounds. Moving on to my favorite story so far this winter sports season, Montesano's boys basketball team extended its winning streak to 5 games with 2 road wins this week, 54-31 at Castle Rock on Wednesday, and then 63-45 at Columbia White Salmon on Friday. DeLon Chan led the team in scoring both games with 23 and then 19, while also recording 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals against White Salmon. Camden Taylor chipped in 8 points against Castle Rock. Tice Peterson had 14 points, 8 boards, and 4 assists against White Salmon, while Peyton Domashevitz added 9 points in the game for Montesano. After playing 5 of their first 6 games on the road, the 5-1 Bulldogs will host 3 games next week: Cedar Park Christian on Monday, Castle Rock on Thursday, and either North Beach or Black Hills on Friday. Those last 2 games are part of a holiday tournament that the Bulldogs are hosting. Elma's boys basketball team lost its opening game in the Seaside Holiday Classic 82-40 to the Dowls. AJ Holmes scored 21 points for the Eagles in the loss, but Elma bounced back on Friday with a 59-54 win over Madras, however you say that. These Oregon teams always mess me up. Holmes led the Eagles again with 18 points and also snagged 8 rebounds. Traden Carter added 10 points 4 assists, 3 steals, and Kaysen Seberg had 9 points, 7 boards, 2 steals, and 6 assists. So contributions across the board for Elma in that win. Sticking with boys basketball, Willapa Valley picked up a 50-33 win at Ocosta on Monday. The Vikings forced 21 Wildcat turnovers in the game and were led by Brody Ritzman's 15 points and 9 rebounds, and Nathan Fluke's 11 points and 3 steals. Acosta's Caden Turner had 13 points and 10 boards, and then Valley notched another win on Thursday, beating Three Rivers Christian 63-8. Not a typo. 9 different Vikings scored in the contest, led by Hank Swartz's 12 points and Aiden Silva's 10. J.B. Russell pulled down a team-high 12 boards. Acosta's boys basketball team won at South Bend on Friday 47-37. Noah Prigmore had a great all-around performance for the Wildcats with 14 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds, as did Caden Turner, who recorded 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 steals. Josh Flynn scored 11 points for South Bend, and Michael Nunez added 10. Raymond's boys basketball team beat Chief Leschi 51-43 on Wednesday in Raymond. Chris Banker led the Seagulls with 19 points and grabbed 12 rebounds. Talon Yearout added 17 points and pulled down 13 boards. Willapa Valley's girls basketball team improved to 5-1 on the season with a 43-36 road win over Tahola on Tuesday. 3 Vikings scored in double figures. Addison Merkel scored 14, Tyler Keaton 11, and Rylan Channel 10. Tahola was led by Keelina McCrory's 12 points and Noelani McCrory's 10. Valley won again on Thursday 53-8, also not a typo, over Three Rivers Christian. Merkel led the Vikings in that game with 12 points. Raymond South Bend's girls basketball team took down Chief Leschi on the road on Tuesday, 61-28. Cassie Koski led the Ravens with 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 steals. Megan Kongbukai added 11 points, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Acosta's girls basketball team beat North Beach 48-31 on Tuesday in Ocean Shores. Alexia Bradley scored 18 points and pulled down 12 rebounds for the Wildcats, and Anna Davis added 11 points and 17 rebounds. Bristol Toll, an Acosta 8th grader, recorded 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. In local wrestling action, Aberdeen defeated Hoquiam 59-24 in a boys dual meet on Tuesday in Hoquiam. The Bobcats won 8 of the 12 varsity matches, 7 via pinfall. Talathian Warnes, Roman Tadik, Paul Baltazar, Eric Silviera, Aiden Watkins, Mikey Hatton, and Jaden Williams each picked up a pinfall victory for the Bobcats. Aberdeen swimmers won 7 events in a 101-74 loss against 3A Kelso on Tuesday in Kelso. The Bobcats were led by senior Tyler Bates, who won the 50-yard freestyle and the 100 backstroke, and sophomore Zeke Olson, who took first in both the 100 breaststroke and the 1-meter dive. Bobcats junior Jacob Halleck won the 500 freestyle, while 2 Aberdeen relay teams were victorious on Tuesday. The 200 medley relay team of Bates, Olson, Halleck, and Denny Linker won, and the same foursome combined to place first in a 200 freestyle relay. Aberdeen swimmers were back in action on Friday at the YMCA in Hoquiam, where they topped Mark Morris and R.A. Long in a District 4 2A tri-meet. The Bobcats won 10 of 12 events to score 101 points as a team, outpacing Mark Morris's 54 and R.A. Long's 21. Tyler Bates and Jacob Halleck each won 2 individual events. Denny Linker, Zeke Olson, and Tyson Powell each won 1. The Bobcats also swept the relays with the teams of Bates, Olson, Halleck, and Linker winning the 200 medley, Olson, Linker, Jacob Natwick, and Austin Weiss winning the 200 free, and Halleck, Bates, Natwick, and Gil Cooper taking the 400 free. Really good stuff there from Aberdeen Swimming, which I believe also includes Hoquiam students as well. One final note here, 2 local volleyball players earned all-state honors this week. Raymond South Bend's Kendall Koski was named to the 2B All-State second team as a libero and a defensive specialist, and Montesano setter Carissa Otterstetter earned an honorable mention in the 1A classification. So congratulations to all of our athletes and all of our local teams who were able to go out and achieve some things this week. I want to get into our nominations because we have 6 of them, and we did a little democratic vote here. We did it Heisman style for who the athlete of the week was, between myself and my co-host Daniel, and also our friend Ian Cope from KWOK, and our friend Rob Burns, who's been covering sports in this area for many, many years. And we all voted on who we thought the athlete of the week should be between these 6 guys. So first nomination is DeLon Chan from Montesano boys basketball. DeLon is averaging 23 points per game through the current 5-game winning streak for the Bulldogs. This week, DeLon had 23 points in a win over Castle Rock, and then 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in the win over White Salmon. And I can say personally, because I've been watching this team, my son happens to be on this team. Because I've been watching this team all season long, I can tell you that DeLon is an incredibly skilled player. He's a brilliant offensive player who's great at scoring at all 3 levels and can really get the ball in the hoop. But he's also a very skilled defensive player with really active hands and creates a lot of disruption and gets a lot of steals for the Bulldogs as well. And also, he just seems to get better every single game. So I'm really been very impressed with what I've seen from DeLon so far. The next one is Jacob Quezada from Aberdeen boys basketball. He had a team-high 17 points in the Myrtle Street rivalry win. Part of the reason why that is significant is because I believe most people thought that Hoquiam was the favorite, and some people thought Hoquiam was a very heavy favorite going into that game. I know I was on the broadcast with Daniel on that game, and as we were watching the teams warm up, the thought was, Hoquiam has some really good, very skilled players, but when you look over at this Aberdeen side, they are deep, they are long, they're athletic. If you have good offensive players, they have a lot of different guys that they can throw at them and, try to make their lives miserable on defense. It's just more about like, where are they going to find their buckets? And when they needed buckets in the fourth quarter and overtime, Manny Garcia stepped up in a couple of spots, but Jacob Quezada was the guy who was hitting shots, it seemed, in the most crucial moments, including the big dagger 3 in the final minute of overtime. And he led the team. He led the Bobcats with 17 points in that game. So that was a really big deal. Tyler Bates from Aberdeen swimming. We don't often have a lot of swimming in our nominations for athlete of the week. I'm very glad that we were able to do this. A lot of this is because their coach, Rob Burns, has been sending us a lot of information, but this nomination just came from the fact that as I was typing this information out and inputting it into the sheet, I realized like he did maximum winning. Tyler Bates did. He won in both of the meets that they had this week. He had 2 individual wins and 2 relay wins. And you can't do better than that. You can't do better than what Tyler Bates did in swimming this week. Another Aberdeen Bobcat, this one coming from cross country, Henry Nelson. This is a no-brainer nomination. He was at the same meet that Jane Roloff was at in Louisville last week that won her athlete of the week by finishing in the top 25. Jane was 6th in her age group, and I want to say 18th overall. Henry Nelson, 34th overall, 23rd place in his age group, and top 25 in each age group, earned All-American honors. So we also have Henry Nelson earning All-American honors in cross country. That's amazing. Not only to show that you're one of the best cross country runners in the state, but then to go do it on the national level is a really big deal. I did have a couple of nominations from Hoquiam basketball as well, because after the loss to Aberdeen, which I don't think Hoquiam played terrible, but they definitely did not play up to their capability, especially shooting wise. Lincoln Nemi bounced back with a pretty massive performance against Onalaska on Thursday, in which he scored 35 points, including hitting 10 3-pointers. 10 3-pointers is a lot if you're keeping track at home and you're not really sure. And then another one came in that I really liked, and that was for Xander Jump of Hoquiam boys basketball. I think Xander has sort of been the picture of consistency for the Grizzlies so far this season, and he had an excellent week. He's a stat sheet stuffer. In both of the games, he had 15 points. In the Aberdeen game, he also had 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And in the win against Onalaska, he added to his 15 points. He added 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. So really having an impact on both ends of the floor and in all aspects of the game. So I want to congratulate all of those nominees. And the result of our very democratic process to figure out who the Spivey Athlete of the Week was going to be, we ended up with a tie. We had two of these athletes who tied not only in overall points, but they also tied in first place votes, and they tied in second place votes as well. So we're going to do co-athletes of the week just because I was trying to avoid that by saying, let's put it out there. Who's the best one of these guys? Because I couldn't choose. For me, it was between three guys. I really wanted DeLon Chan, Henry Nelson, and Tyler Bates. I thought all those guys were super deserving of winning Athlete of the Week award this week. But the two guys who are going to share this honor, and it was by a slim margin, but it's going to be Tyler Bates of Aberdeen Swimming and Henry Nelson of Aberdeen Cross Country. So congratulations to those guys. We'll have those posts out on social media very soon. But Henry Nelson for getting All-American honors as a cross-country runner with his performance in the meet in Louisville, and Tyler Bates for doing maximum winning in swimming this week. I want a huge congratulations to both of those guys. And I also think it's kind of weird. We had a cross-country runner as our Athlete of the Week last week as well. Usually we'd have a lot more basketball during basketball season, but these other athletes from other sports, even ones that aren't technically in season with cross-country, are stepping up and just doing amazing things and making it really hard for me to just name Bulldog basketball players Athlete of the Week every week like I really want to do. But I want to say massive congratulations to Henry Nelson and to Tyler Bates for what you were able to do this week. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this show. We're keeping it short and sweet. And I want to thank all of you who watched or listened to this. And we will be back next week with a very similar show. And then on the New Year's Eve weekend, we will put something together, but it's probably without producer Andrew. So it'll probably be something that Daniel and I do together. And then the first Sunday of January, we are back to normal. And there's a guest that I'm hoping is going to join us via Zoom for that show that I'm very excited about, but I don't know it for sure. So I'm not going to say who it is. But for now, I think I'm just going to sign off for today. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, Spivey Realty Group and the Law Office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, for making this show possible. You've been listening to The Scrimmage, and I am Justin Domashevitz. No Daniel Hargrove, no Andrew Gross.